Welcome, guys, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Impalement, this new album, Infernal Ordinance, and and more things related to the metal world. We'll start when a common question: how was the band during these last 5 years? Because your first album was released 5 years ago. Now you are presenting a new album. How was the band during these 5 years?
Well, it was doing pretty strong after the release of the first album. Did a couple short tours, uh, just kind of regionally up the East Coast to Baltimore, stuff like that. And around 2020, when COVID and all that hit, the band kind of fell apart, which is when we recorded a lot of Infernal Ordinance. That's why there's like a gap there between recording and release. Had to self-finance it. I was kind of by myself before Jerry and Aaron came along. So in most of that 5 years, kind of just inactive, really. So I kind of had to start over at the end of 2022.
Okay. So could we say that this new album was composed and written during the pandemic, and this pandemic helped to record much better this new album, perhaps?
Sorry, one more time.
Perhaps this pandemic helped to record much faster because a lot of musicians dedicated during this pandemic to record the new albums, compose, writing, have more time to pick some details of the new album.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was honestly kind of shelved for a really long time. Because I mean, it was again recorded like right before everything shut down, like literally a few weeks. And then there was some personal shit or whatever. And yeah, so I mean, I guess I did have time to think about the end product a bit more on like mixes and stuff like that, since there was no rush or anything, if that's what you're getting at. But yeah, it was kind of more just an uncertain time.
Okay. So compared to the previous records, so what are the biggest differences that exist with this internal ordinance? The main difference for you?
I think it's a little bit more focused, I guess. It's a little bit more straightforward death metal, in my opinion. A few more like Archgoat riffs, maybe, stuff like that. Definitely just a bit more streamlined, a little bit better at songwriting and things like that, I believe, and better at instruments and stuff. And yeah, just kind of that sort of thing. The band started with the drummer not even knowing how to play drums, honestly. So each time there's a release, we're much better at what we're doing. We were kids when we started, so I think that's something that's going to continue to show as well.
Okay, talking about the history of the band, I saw that the band started in 2012, but 6 years later, you released your first album in 2018. So why this kind of delay happened? Because it's unusual at this time that a new band delays 6 years to release an album, especially in US, because US export a lot of death metal bands since the 90s.
Yeah. So I guess it was just there were a lot of. I mean, he wasn't in the band at the time, but he was around. Like, I guess it was just we were playing a lot of shows or something, and we just didn't have time to write and stuff like that. Like, we were playing Jesus at one point um, every week, a couple times a week at like punk shows and like house shows and stuff. So it just took a long time to come up with new material, I think, or be comfortable enough with it to record. So that's kind of why it took so long, the 6 years. I mean, we had EPs and demos and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess it did kind of take us a while to get to the first one. And we were kids too, and we started the band, man. We were still in high school. I think we were like 16, 17. Me and the drummer were.
Okay, so I know Jerry that you entered to the band in 2022, so last year. So how was your first encounter with Act of Impalement at the beginning, when you was a fan of the band, and now you are entered the band?
Yeah, well, there's not really a huge metal scene here. So I remember when I first saw Active Impalement, I was just like really blown away. Like finally there's like a real death metal band in Nashville, so I thought. So it's really cool to actually be in the band, yeah, for sure.
Mm. Okay, okay. So talking about from the group, well, Ethan told me that he was composed the album during these past years, and perhaps when you entered to the band, you are some details new, or your influence to create this new album, or just perhaps you are follow the paths from Ethan.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we've been working on new songs together, but yeah, I mean, I guess I would say the stuff we do together is more aggressive, or I don't know.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's kind of like how the second album's definitely progressed and been more focused. Uh, like as far as death metal goes, it's more focused from the first album. I'd say the stuff we're writing now is very much more down that same path, like even more so. A lot more like it's almost some like discontent and stuff in there now.
Yeah.
So and also just got better at instruments once again.
Okay, okay. Well, talking about on this new album especially, a lot of people now, as you can see around the world, they are promoting music just by singles into the digital platform. That's one. We are returning back in the 40s and 50s at that time when the music spread just by singles at that time. Now we are returning at that era. The new generation prefers to hear the music. So if we relate this aspect for you both for both guys, which songs for you are the best songs to capture whole essence for this new generation to prefer just singles and not hear complete album?
Atomic Hecate.
For us, you mean?
Yes,
Right.
for both of
Yeah,
perhaps
for
you
us,
Ethan. Yeah.
I would probably say Atomic Hecatomb, yeah. I think it encapsulates what the band does pretty well. And it kind of seems to be always, even back before the record came out with the old lineup, that one always kind of seemed to get people moving and got a pretty good reaction. So I'd say that would be that would be our single, I think. Or I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say they liked the that's just for us personally. I've heard a lot of people talk about the first song that was actually released, "Summoning the Final Conflagration," the first song. I've heard people really like that one, but yeah, for me personally, I would say Atomic Hecatomb.
Okay, okay. So talking about the lyrics of the band, who came with the idea of to talk about into to talk about the occultism in this aspect and a little history in about it, because reading about your lyrics talking about the occultism, and the name is Act of Impalement. It's a very curious name into the one, especially to death metal, because death metal speaks about death, torture, gore, or this kind of aspect, and it's not really related. The only band that I hear at the end of the no at the beginning of 2000 was Eternal Dominion, that spoke about Satanism and occultism. I remember that band. So who came with the idea to mix death metal with occultism lyrics?
Well, I write all the lyrics, so I don't know. I grew up I grew up pretty Christian, in the South and stuff. So Buckle, the Bible Belt, Nashville's called. Uh, so I don't know. Between that and always being interested in history, it kind of just made sense to write about occult topics and things like that. I was very influenced by black metal also, especially bands like Beharit or Archgoat, if whether you consider them black metal or death metal or what have you. I was just very influenced by that and history, so I talk about that sort of stuff a lot. And I feel like a lot of death metal people are, like you said, the gore and stuff. They're real big, like slasher horror movie people, I
Yeah.
guess. And I mean, I do like that stuff, but I'm not a huge like horror guy. Like, I guess me and the dude from Mortician would not have a chill time drinking beers because I'd be like, man, this movie's boring or whatever. But yeah, like I don't know. I've always liked war movies and shit. So like between that and I guess that's my gore. It's like that and just like being the blasphemous themes.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Other aspect that I didn't know in both albums is the cover art from both, because as usually, I will tell a history when I started to hear music in the 80s, when a CD or tape came to my hand at that time. The first time that the other sign of that time is the cover art, and when you see the cover, hey, I need to hear the music behind the cover art. So, in mostly cases was black metal in the 90s, death metal in the 80s or the beginnings of 90s. But when I hear, sorry, uh, when I saw both cover arts from of Impalement, there is really not related with the music, because the music is very hard death metal. But when I saw, especially from the last album, Infernal Ordinance, I saw, hey man, this band plays perhaps black trash metal in the vein of impiety, some kind of stuff. So who came with the idea to this kind of cover arts in the act of Impalement? Because it's very far from the concept death metal.
Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying there too. Yeah, actually, I read your review and I thought that was a funny thing. I was like, I kind of get what he's saying now. But I don't know. We originally the idea was more like, um, I don't know. I had the thought of it being kind of more similar to say Sepultura's like Morbid Visions.
Mm.
So I was kind of saying something like that, and it's like, yeah, but like also World War I, man. I don't know, but I kind of like the idea of it being almost literal spiritual warfare. And when I described that to the artist, that's just kind of what came out. I thought it was still sick, and I love like black thrash stuff. Uh, anyway, so I was kind of just like, it's cool anyway, and I don't know, I just decided to go with it. That was kind of the brainchild of me and the former drummer, but I wasn't expecting there to be like a Sauron type character on the front either. But also I like Lord of the Rings, so fuck it, man. I just thought it was still cool, and I wanted to release it. Like I said, it had been shelved for so long, I kind of wanted to just get it out. And but yeah, no, that's funny, and especially the first album, I feel like it doesn't fit the music that well.
Yeah.
So
Oh, since the beginning, the cover art's not related to that metal.
yeah, no, it's funny you mention that because I kind of agree, but I don't know, the guy that also did the art for um, Infernal Ordinance is the same guy that did the art for. Have you seen like the poster for Hell's Heroes in Houston?
No.
Ah, well, I was gonna say that's the guy, and so he does normally like black thrash, like kind of black speed sort of art for the
Yeah,
most
the
part,
Black Speed,
anyways.
yeah.
So that's kind of why it looks like that. I think it might, that was just his style, but I think it's fucking awesome. So whatever.
Yeah, talking about from the cover art again. So, what is the meaning of the cover art? Because if I'm very intrigued about the cover, because it's black death metal plays Act of Rebellion plays death metal, but the cover art is a black speed death metal, and when you saw the cover, it's like some Sauron there from the Lord of the Rings into there, so it's very related. So what is exactly the meaning of the cover? And I try to relate all everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was the descriptions were kind of. I think I was drunk when I described it, so that probably didn't help the guy. But yeah, I pretty much said I was just like, yeah, like people being tortured on crucifixes, like some of the early like Morbid Angel demos or like Morbid Visions, like I was saying. It's like that, but like also people fighting in trenches with demons and shit. And I don't know, it just kind of came out funny, I guess.
Well, this time is yes. Well, talking about now from the labels are in the band. You start with the label from Unspeakable X Records for the first album. Now you change to the Caligari Records. So how was the transitions from the first label to the new label? Perhaps how was your expectation with this new album, and how was your experience with the last label?
Well, so that's kind of weird, a weird subject because I've seen this. I've seen other people mention this in reviews, or I've done a couple other like emailed interviews and stuff like that, and people have asked me about this. And the funny part is I thought we were on Caligari this whole time. They did a compilation of the first two EPs, I think, at one point, and they did. I mean, they did the vinyl for the first record Caligari did for Perdition Cult, and all of my dealings that I personally did, and mostly the drummer did at the time, Zach. Um, he was dealing with Ignacio from Caligari. So, as far as I know, none of us ever talked to anyone in Unspeakable or anything like that. That was all that Caligari's doing. So, for me, as far as the transition goes, it was kind of the same. I was just doing more of the talking because I was the only one left out of the original lineup. So, I mean, he's easy to work with, but it seemed like it was about the same as far as just like, oh yeah, here's the layouts, all that made it pretty easy. He's a chill dude, so it was pretty easy. Yeah. I don't know, it's kind of funny though. That's a common misconception, I suppose. Even on Metal Archives, it said for a long time. It's like I think it still does that we're on Unspeakable Acts, and I don't think we were ever officially signed or anything to them at all.
Okay. Okay, well, talking about from the promotion and well, talking about from promotion of this new album. So, what kind of plans do you have the band for this new album, Infernal Ordinance? Perhaps you will prepare a US tour. Perhaps you will came to the Latin America in the next year, or who knows, Europe in the next couple of years. Who knows?
I mean, I would say yes to any of that, man. I would love to come to like I've wanted to play places in Latin America, like all over, just in general. Uh, Almost more so than Europe, to be honest. But
Yeah.
We are planning on going out to Texas, hitting up like New Orleans and Houston, Dallas, some places like that. Maybe this October. We're still in talks about that, but it seems to be pretty. Like I can't say anything definite yet, but it seems to be promising. A little too far out to tell yet, but other than that, just a few local shows and regional shows. Like we're playing in Birmingham in May. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of. We're playing with Devourment in May as well here in Nashville. But like Jerry said, there's not really a metal scene here. And tours, I swear, man, tours do every other major city in Tennessee and like another major city about 5 hours south of here, and they just skip over like they'll be like Memphis, Atlanta, Knoxville. So we don't get to do a whole lot of like bigger act shows or whatever. Maybe sometimes Obituary or something.
Yeah, I've read Obituary.
Okay.
But we'll play some shows. We'll try to get out there. And hey, if any, if you find someone in Lima that wants us.
Okay. Well, now since here we spoke about the band, the history, the late for this album, this new album, the curious color out from the new one, the new album. So now talking about from others, as I said in the first question, talking about from other aspects. So in metal in general, because the metal in general contributes with a lot of point of views around the world. So in these aspects, perhaps what is for you? What is the biggest strange that the band has compared with a lot of death metal bands appears around the world? Because as you can see now, you in just one click, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube appears like 1,000 bands per day, releases singles, EPs, albums, compilations, BA. I think some people bring back old stuff from BA, BH. So a lot of things happen now. So for you, how is different Active Impalement compared to the a lot of crazy shit that's happened now?
I don't know. Do you have an answer to that? I just kind of play what I want to hear. honestly. So I don't really consider that a whole lot. To be honest with you, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything.
I mean, the main thing is just have good, like memorable
Yeah.
riffs, which a lot of bands don't, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of filler, I guess, in the scene. With no one in particular in mind, really. It's just, oversaturated market, I suppose.
Yeah.
What you're talking about, really. But I don't know. I just want to make, memorable riffs. Something I would want to listen to myself.
And nothing too polished.
Yeah. Nothing too polished or it needs to be grimy and gross.
Okay.
I guess.
Oh, great. So, talking about perhaps you hear, I think last year, perhaps it was in 2021. I can remember very well. But perhaps you hear about the some words about Chris Barnes that he says, or that he said that the all new death metal bands are shit. It's not well received for him. So, what's your opinion about these comments about from one icon and the growl stuff or the growl death metal stuff?
I mean, it's kind of hard to do a blanket statement of it all being shit.
Yeah.
There are definitely some. I'll leave band names out of it, but there are definitely contemporary bands in the scene that I think are fucking terrible. Honestly, who are just dudes my age or whatever. But I don't know. There's some that are really fucking good too. Like one band that I think that personally for me stands out as far as death metal from the past few years. On the positive side of this question, that does really well for me. Oath of Cruelty out of Houston, fucking awesome. I don't know. Some of them are shit though.
Yeah, but there's plenty of good bands too. I think it's
like Genocide Pact School.
Yeah.
Friends of ours from DC. I don't know if you're aware of them. It's more like kind of more strictly speaking mid-paced death metal, but it's good. I don't know. I guess it's kind of funny. A lot of the stuff I like is just dudes from the old guard making newer bands.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't
But,
even know.
there's a lot of good bands like the bands from the Pacific Northwest, like Cerebral Rod and like Fetid and
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, those bands are sick.
Skeletal Remains from California. Like there's a lot. I feel like now, honestly, there's just as many good death metal bands as there ever have been. Honestly.
Yeah, you just kind of have to look for them.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm blanking on like good shit right now.
Same.
I mean, there's Evil Dam. They're fucking sick. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of, or actually, there's a couple bands from France that I like a lot, like Benefiction. That's really good, really thrashy, but also kind of esoteric. Or I guess if you want to call it possession death metal.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of Black Death, but I don't know, man. Chris Barnes. I thought it was funny. I kind of just laughed when he said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's been relevant so long.
Yeah, I mean, kind of just I don't know how to touch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he is a legend, so I'm not gonna talk shit. It's just I don't know how much he's on, say, Dark Descent's, back catalog, looking at what they have or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, into this topic about the extreme music now, as you can see now, a lot of you told me a lot of new bands are appear or are show up in US, in France, Japan, etc., and a lot of bands came up with a new productions, a lot of things. So as you can see now, the death metal, even we spoke about the old bands influence the new bands, all the time the death metal as you are so are timeless. Your music is strong, a lot of dark, a lot of things happen. It's a punch in the face, as I spoke with sometimes with the Andrew from my time, right? The death metal is a punch on the face. That's the correct way to describe the music. So, but as I saw you T-shirt from Merciful Fate, So it's very curious that the heavy metal, the thrash metal, the speed metal, or the traditional heavy metal are very stagnated in time compared to the death metal. Because when you hear new bands from this style that in the 70s, well, during these 10 years, so these kind of bands are repeating the bands from the 70s and 80s. No more. It's the same. It's the same. So how is your point of view about the old death metal brings energy into the music, and not like the new bands into the thrash, speed, in heavy, traditional heavy, that are very now it's very common bands. It's not like it's not very. I really I don't keep pay attention to these kind of bands because I'm really boring about these new bands. But the death metal is very strong. You are proof of that.
That's funny. We were actually talking about this earlier today, like about an hour ago. I don't know, man. I think with bands that try to play old styles, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're in the same boat really as some of these guys. Just in that I just kind of generally think they play old school death metal. So it's still a style that was formed before I was born, you know. So I feel like I can't talk too much smack on traditional stuff. But I generally kind of agree. It's a lot of it seems kind of uninspired, I guess. Like they're trying to copy a style that's been around.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know. I also like a lot of modern speed metal and like thrash metal. Like I love Death Hammer and Necromantian. I know Jerry does too.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff like that. So I don't know. It kind of just depends on who you're talking about. If really, once again, I don't mean to come across so lukewarm, I guess. But I don't know. I'll listen to a lot of different shit as far as metal's concerned. But I don't know. It's kind of funny because like a lot of, generally speaking, you're just as likely to hear me listening to, you know, Morbosadod or Angel Witch. So
All bands sounds like Angel Witch for me.
say what?
All bands that is traditional heavy metal
Oh
sounds
yeah.
like Angel Witch for me. It's all bands the same.
But yeah, but it's too clean. I think I don't know. It's like they're trying to pinpoint. I don't know how to put it earlier. It's like they're. It seems like a lot of those bands are trying to copy a style that they weren't even sure about at the time, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like they're still
Right.
figuring things out and pushing boundaries, and they're setting the boundary at 1982, which is a really arbitrary point to like draw a line.
Right.
I don't
Whereas
know.
death metal, there's more. I don't know. There's more room to like grow. Always, I guess, more extreme. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and you can always just kind of do something weird, like blood incantation or something. They got kind of weird, spacey, which I know they weren't the first band to do that, of course, but first band to get that popular, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still places to grow. It's not like you had bands sounding like Angel Witch or Saxon or whatever in '02 or whatever, I guess. So I mean, I guess death metal does have more room to grow and stuff like that if we're still playing stuff that's a genre started 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess yeah. So I guess there's less boundaries because I don't know, it's more a trodden path, I suppose. So you can find other
That's
offshoots
true.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, one of the last. Well, what?
Oh, I was saying maybe that's why the modern heavy metal bands don't grab you.
Okay. So one of the last questions is, what are your personal goals as a musicians in a band playing death metal? Because you are part of the new generations of playing of bands of that are playing death metal. Because even you started your world in 2012, the band starts seriously with the 6 years later with your first album. So a lot of bands appears at the same time as you in US in the world. So what are your main goals as a death metal band now?
I mean, just write stuff I'm proud of, I guess. Like, I don't really have many definite goals, honestly. I know that's kind of a dull answer, but I don't know. I mean, I would like to play fests that I would be going to anyway. That would be nice. I would like to play, South America and Central America and Europe. Like to get out of the U.S., play outside. I don't know. Just keep releasing records and see what happens. I don't really have any clear goals, to be honest with you.
Okay. Oh, as well, we are very close to end this interview, guys. And for this aspect, what kind of bands inspired you to create a death metal band as Act of Impalement is it? Which bands influenced you to create to play blast, to play guitar, to do lyrics, this kind of aspect, to say, hey man, I want to play death metal because uh, I will tell you an anecdote from me from my when I grew up in the 80s, my brother listened a lot heavy, hard rock, this kind of stuff. And when I first when the side appears in my time or hypocrisy appears in my life, hey, I said my brother, hey, you are hearing pussy music because I don't like the heavy metal, hard rock. I prefer to hear this music for all my time. So that's my experience. That's my way to extreme music now. So for you, which bands influence you to do like a death metal band like you? Because, by the way, your T-shirt from Rip Records is amazing with one of the old logos from them. Very
Yeah.
very very difficult to collect one T-shirt here.
Sorry, I missed that last part.
Right. No, he's talking about the Ripping Corp shirt.
Oh, hell yeah.
I actually printed this shirt myself. I did screen printing, yeah.
Yeah, actually, he printed this shirt too. Actually,
Yeah, actually, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as bands that maybe inspire me to want to do this, Cyanide, Autopsy, yeah, Morbid Angel, especially the first few records, Archgoat, Sadistic Intent, and I really like how Sadistic Intent is. I feel like I connect with those guys quite a bit, just in that it doesn't seem like they just kind of are doing it to do it too, because they feel compelled to, and they do it completely their own way. So I like that attitude. And I don't know. I mean, I'm very inspired by them as well. I don't know. Yeah, just those bands primarily, and of course like Slayer and stuff.
Slayer
I didn't say that already. Yeah.
Course, yeah.
Slayer, especially like Hell Awaits is probably one of my most listened to albums of all time, especially in the past couple of years. I don't know. I've always loved that record. But yeah, those are the bands that inspire me personally as far as playing death metal.
Okay. One thing that you said, Ethan, is that when sadistic intent influences you to create Act of Impalement. But the curious thing about sadistic intent is the sadistic intent never released on a full length, just releases splits, EPs, demos, and this kind of stuff. So, well, as you thinking as a fan too, so how a band with no one full length inspired you a lot of metalheads to do a metal because it's very weird.
I don't know. They kind of have the quantity, not quality approach, I suppose. And I appreciate that. And they also just really wanted to, do their record label, not label, sorry, their distro. And I don't know. They do have a dedication that I feel like you only really appreciate if you've ever talked to one of them.
Yeah.
It's not like we know them well at all, but like we did go to the record shop one time, and those guys there, if you can say one thing about them, those motherfuckers are passionate. Like man, they love extreme metal, and it's almost to a humbling degree as like a fan of them, just hearing them go off about talking about this one time they're in Oslo hanging out with Niflheim or some shit, or Stockholm, my bad. But just stuff like that. I don't mind that they don't have a full length Their EPs, there's not a filler song on any of those. It's all great. And all of the releases are very consistently good, in my opinion. So I got nothing but respect for that. They do exactly what they want to, and they do it. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Kind of a fuck the world, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I like that a lot.
Okay. Well, guys, the side times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me doing this one. It was a pleasure to talk with both. So congratulations on the new album. You read our review on Metallerium. So perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and Metallerium followers?
I don't know, man. Fucking keep being crazy, motherfuckers. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I love the just the enthusiasm and stuff like that I see down there. So keep that shit up.